Hello everyone, it's Glenda and welcome back to Creative Grandma's channel. It's Stitch of the Week time and this week's stitch is number 24 and I call it the Delicate Berry Stitch. This is a modified version of the regular berry stitch, but I just didn't want the loops so high, so I just changed it by one stitch just to make it a more delicate textured fabric. So this is what it looks like worked in a multicolor. Now this stitch pattern is very easy. It's very beginner friendly, and this is a chain of any even number. So as long as you chain an even number, the pattern's going to work out. So it's a very interesting stitch if you just want to add a little bit of texture to your design. So let me turn it this way and you can see a little more detail of how that texture really looks and how it sticks up just a little bit, just lightly textured. So this is my first sample, and this sample was made using Red Heart Super Saver pooling yarn. It's a beautiful multicolor, and this is color number 8536, and it's the Papaya Pooling. Now I buy it because I just love the colors and use it as a multicolored yarn, but this is how it works up in my sample. So that's sample number 1. Sample number 2, I always like to make that classic white sample because I feel that no matter what stitch pattern you're working on, when you use just basic classic white, it just gives it that very elegant look. So if you wanted to make a little baby blanket that had a little bit of texture, then this is what it would look like when you work it in a solid color. So that is sample number 2, and this is a 4 worsted weight yarn, and with the 4 worsted I use a size I9 or a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, and this is the results you get. So I have one more sample to show you. Now my third sample was made using that beautiful Magic Glitch yarn by Ice Yarns. I love this yarn. I ordered some in and I absolutely love it. But this is what the self-striping yarn looks like when worked up. Now this is a 3 lightweight yarn, so I dropped my hook size down. So again, if you're making a baby Afghan with the 3 lightweight yarn, it has a more delicate look. I dropped the hook size down to an H8 or 5 millimeters. So I just want to compare the two. So when you look at the sample made using the 3 lightweight yarn and dropping your hook size down, you can see how it creates that beautiful, softly textured, really delicate looking pattern. So let me see if I can just hold it up a little bit more so the camera can kind of show off that texture. So that's the 3 lightweight, and then when you hold it up to the 4, you can see the difference how the 3 lightweight, if you want to make a baby Afghan, I would recommend the 3 lightweight, dropping your hook size down to that size H8 or 5 millimeter. And then if you're using the 4 worsted weight yarn, you can see how more chunkier it looks when you use a size I9 5.5 millimeter hook. I would just suggest for maybe a baby Afghan, this would be the preferred one to use because it is a more delicate texture with the 3 lightweight than the 4 worsted. But it's all in what you prefer when you're crocheting. So here again are the 3 samples. These 2 were the 4 worsted, and this was the 3 lightweight yarn sample. Now for today's sample, I'm going to be using the Premier Basics. This is a very affordable 4 medium worsted weight yarn. It comes in a 7-ounce skein, and this is color Aqua, color number 111529. And I'm also going to be using a size I9 or 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So if you're using a different yarn, then make sure you look on your yarn label and there'll be a box that gives you the suggested hook size for the yarn you're using. So I'm using an I9, and on my label it's telling me to use an I9 for this yarn. So grab your yarn, use the recommended hook size on the label of the yarn you will be using, and let's get started. I already have my yarn attached to my hook and I just used a double knot. Now this pattern is so simple, we're only going to make a very small sample. We're going to chain 12. You're going to yarn over the hook and pull through the loop on your hook. This creates your first chain. The loop on your hook does not count as a chain. That's 1, yarn over, pull through, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you should have a chain with 12 chains. And now we're ready to begin row 1. Row 1 is a very simple row of single crochet. So if you're a more experienced crocheter, you can just go ahead and work ahead or just skip ahead in the video. We're going to begin and we're going to skip this first chain. You're going to go into the second chain from hook, yarn over, pull through that chain. You have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. You just made a single crochet. You're going to single crochet into the next chain, single crochet into the next chain, and single crochet in each chain across. So I'm just going to work my sample right along with you right to the end of the chain. Again, you're going to single crochet in each chain across to the end of the row. So I'm over at the end of row 1 and you should have a total of 11 stitches. So with single crochet, when you make your starting chain, you're always going to have 1 less stitch than your starting chain because you're starting in that second chain from hook. So if you're new to crocheting, you can go ahead and double count your stitches. Make sure you have 11 single crochet. So now it's time to begin row 2. So for row 2, you're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn your work. Now row 2 will be the right side of our work, and this is where we're going to do our textured stitches. We're going to start and we're going to skip that beginning chain 1, which is our turning chain, and you're going to insert into that very first single crochet at the base of that chain 1. You're going under both of those top 2 loops, work a single crochet. Now we're going to work our delicate berry stitch. You're going to insert into the next stitch, and I always go under the top 2 loops. You're going to yarn over, pull back through that stitch, and now we're going to chain 2. You're going to yarn over, pull through 1 loop only, yarn over, pull through 1 loop only. Now you have 2 loops. You're going to yarn over and pull through both loops. You just made your delicate berry stitch. So you're going to just kind of take your hook and push that forward, insert into the next stitch, work a single crochet. And that is the end of the repeat. The repeat is going to be a delicate berry stitch and then a single crochet, and we're going to repeat that across to the end of the row. So let's do the repeat again. You're going to insert into the next stitch, and you're working the delicate berry stitch. Yarn over, pull through that stitch. You have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to chain 2, yarn over, pull through 1 loop only, yarn over and pull through 1 loop only. You have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. What I do is I use my finger and I just push that stitch forward, and then you're going to single crochet into the next stitch. Make sure you're going under both of those top 2 loops, work a single crochet. And that is the end of the repeat, and you can see how your little stitches are forming and making that texture. So let's do the repeat again. We're going to start with our delicate berry stitch, insert into the next stitch, going under both of those top 2 loops, yarn over and pull through. You're going to chain 2, yarn over, pull through 1 loop only, yarn over and pull through 1 loop only. Now you're going to yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. You're going to take your finger, push that forward, and then single crochet into the next stitch. And that is the end of the repeat. Let's do it again. Delicate berry stitch into the next stitch, insert into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. You're going to chain 2, yarn over, pull through 1 loop only, yarn over, pull through 1 loop only, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. You're going to take your finger, push that stitch forward, and then single crochet into the next stitch. So we have 2 stitches to go, so we have 1 more repeat. So let's finish the row and do our last repeat. We're going to work a delicate berry stitch into this next stitch, insert into that next stitch, yarn over and pull through. You're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Just take your finger, push that forward, insert into that very last stitch across, and work a single crochet. Now I did forget to mention, if you're new to crocheting, make sure you're marking your first and last stitch, and that helps you know where your first and last stitch is when you do the next row. So sorry I forgot to mention that, but you can do it now. You can put a stitch marker in that last stitch, come up to the front and put a stitch marker in that first stitch, and that will help you. So row 2 is finished. So now it's time to begin row 3. You're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn your work. So row 3 is the wrong side of your work, and we're just going to work a single crochet in each stitch across. You're going to skip that beginning chain, insert into the very first stitch under the top 2 loops, work a single crochet. Single crochet into the next stitch, make sure you're going under both of those top 2 loops, work a single crochet. If you're not sure where your stitches are, you can either pull your work and you'll see these openings, or you can turn your work and look for the top 2 loops that look like a teardrop. That's your stitch. Insert into the next stitch, work a single crochet. And now we're just going to single crochet in each stitch across to the end of the row. Now make sure you're going under both of those top 2 loops when you're working this pattern. And we're working 1 single crochet in each stitch across to the end of the row. So I have 1 stitch remaining. I'm going under the top 2 loops and working a single crochet. Row 3 is finished. Again, this is the wrong side of your work. The odd number rows are the wrong side, and the even number rows are the right side of your work. So now we're going to start row 4. We're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn your work. Now row 4 is almost the same as row 2, only we want to stagger our stitches and have them so they're going across where they're centered between the puff stitches below. So let's go ahead and begin. We're going to skip that turning chain 1. You're going to insert into the very first stitch, work a single crochet. You're going to single crochet into the next stitch. And then we're going to work our delicate berry stitch into the next stitch, which will center our berry stitch between the 2 below. So let's begin. Insert into that next stitch, yarn over and pull through. You're going to chain 2, yarn over, pull through 1 loop only, yarn over, pull through 1 loop only. You have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops on your hook. Take your finger, push that stitch forward, and then single crochet into the next stitch. So it's the same repeat. So let's go ahead and work across, and we're going to repeat this across to the last stitch. So let's go ahead and do the repeat again. Do your delicate berry stitch into the next stitch, insert into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. Chain 2, 1, 2, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops on your hook. Take your finger, push that stitch forward, and then single crochet into the next stitch. That is the end of the repeat. And again, when you look at your work, you're going to notice it's centered between the ones below. Let's do it again. Do your delicate berry stitch into the next stitch, insert into the stitch, yarn over and pull through. Chain 2, 1, 2, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. You're going to take your finger, push that stitch forward, insert into the next stitch, and single crochet. We have 1 repeat to go, so when you get to the end of the row, you're going to have 1 stitch remaining after your last repeat. So let's work that last repeat, insert into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. Chain 2, 1, 2, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Push your stitch forward and then single crochet into the next stitch. And that is the end of the repeat. So you have 1 stitch remaining, and we're just going to work 1 single crochet into that last stitch of the row. Insert into the last stitch and work 1 single crochet. And that is the end of row 4. So row 4 is finished. This is what your sample should look like. And now we're ready to begin row 5. Row 5, we're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn your work. You're going to skip that beginning chain 1, insert under the top 2 loops of that first stitch, work a single crochet. You're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch across. Insert into the next stitch, work a single crochet. So I'm just going to go ahead and single crochet in each stitch across my row. Working 1 single crochet in each stitch across. So if you're new to crocheting and you're just looking for a pattern that's just a little bit different but easy for a beginner, this is an excellent pattern. And it's so nice if you're an experienced crocheter. I'm over at my last stitch. I'm working a single crochet into the last stitch across. And if you're a more experienced crocheter and you just want something simple when you're watching TV, then this is a great pattern as well. So that is the end of row 5. Again, you're on the wrong side of your work, and when you turn your sample over, you're going to see the right side of your work. So this is what your sample should look like. I'm just going to take my hook out of my sample for a minute. So to continue working on your sample, if you want to practice some more, just click back on the video and you're going to repeat rows 2 through 5 for the pattern. Now when you end this pattern, you can end it on row 3 or row 5. You can end it on any single crochet row. So that is how easy it is to do the delicate berry stitch. So here are the 3 samples again that I made to show how beautiful the stitch pattern is. Very lightly textured and oh so super simple to make. I want to remind everybody the Stitch of the Week patterns are always free. I'll have a link in the description box underneath this video. You can click that link. It'll take you right to Creative Grandma's website and you can see all the Stitch of the Week patterns. You can click on one, you can click on them all, and I also suggest get yourself a binder, print those patterns out, and make yourself a little stitch guide. And that way when you need a stitch pattern for your next project, you can just browse through your book and use whichever stitch pattern you prefer. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the crochet fun here at Creative Grandma's. So until next time, stay inspired and happy crocheting, everyone.